So who will likely emerge as Wemby's number 2 next season? De'Aaron Fox or Stephon Castle?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, radio on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kings 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope you had a great weekend. And if you're in San Antonio, you better be fiesting, but you're smart, okay? Hit some of those events. Heads up, don't go to events that are peak heat in San Antonio. That'll wipe you out. I went yesterday, and I got wiped out in an afternoon heat in San Antonio. But for those of y'all who are not from San Antonio, basically just think a week-long party celebrating all things in San Antonio. But other than that, we thank you all again for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kings 5 Plus app, YouTube. Check out the Locked On Spurs newsletter. You want to go to Locked On Daily, see it on your screen right now. Go there right now, sign up for Locked On Spurs and the rest of the Locked On NBA shows and their newsletters, because for those that are still playing in the playoffs, probably a good time to pick up those guys' team newsletters. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your own Xbox. No console needed. Head to Amazon.com, Fire TV Locked On to learn more. What are we talking about today? We're going to be looking at Wemby's number 2, basically his running mate. We all say it's De'Aaron Fox, right? Right? Yeah, it makes sense. But would anybody be surprised if it's Castle? Would you be surprised? I know I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season next year or midway through the season, that debate comes up. Oh no, Wemby and Castle need to play more. Look, they run better than Fox. Yeah, we're going to be looking at the pros and cons of each, then giving our basically our verdict of who should be the number 2 next season, and then we'll catch up with some NBA playoff talk. Maybe one day the Spurs will be in there. Well, hopefully sooner than later. Let's going to bring in our guest. Look who's back, everybody. It's Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. What's going on, Raul?
Not a lot, man. Just enjoying the first round of NBA action.
Yeah, no, we're recording this on Sunday, but man, that Sunday slate was good. That Laker Minnesota, woo! Raul was so into it. He said, like, can we just record after the game's over? That's how much we were into it. But yeah, good series going on. But hopefully one day the Spurs will be back there. Hopefully one day.
I think it'll be next season. I really think it'll be next season.
Hot take there. Okay, play in or playoffs?
I think playoffs next season. I think
that's going to be another episode of Locked On Spurs, courtesy of Raul Dominguez. Wow, you really see it, huh? You think they got the playoff juice in them for next year?
I think you get Wemby, Castle, Fox, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Keldon, and then whoever they get in the draft. I still think they're going to get a really good free agent. That core together, and then some of the other teams I think are going to be a little down next year. Who knows what's going to happen with Denver, the change they made, Phoenix. So I definitely see them as a top 6 seed next season.
We definitely got to talk about that in an upcoming show on Locked On Spurs, because that is a hot take. I got them in play-in, but I don't think we'll save that for another episode. We got a long off season, everybody. We got to save these topics to pass away the months. Make sure everybody y'all follow him on X at Dominguez Cinco. Again, he is the AP Sports writer based in San Antonio. Well, it's a great segue. You're talking about next year, the roster. Right now, as presently constructed, the Spurs got a great trio: Wemby, Fox, and Castle. Fox, been there, done that, an all-star. He's established himself as one of the better offensive guys in the league. He's good defensively as well. Castle, his star is rising. But I said in the intro, Raul, everybody looks at Fox as the co-star to Wemby, and I get it. That makes sense. You swing for the fences, you make a deal, and you get him. That's what his job is. But with Castle emerging the way he did in his rookie season, I wouldn't be surprised if somehow, some way, the topic or the talking point of Castle should be the guy. No, it's Castle. Let Castle and Wemby run together. Those two guys make sense. I can see that type of debate emerging out of next season. But let's start off with De'Aaron Fox. All right, I think that's the obvious one. Right, the Spurs traded for him. He's an established all-star. He's a 20-plus point scorer in his career, and he's going to run that pick and roll with Wemby nicely. What are your thoughts on Fox and Wemby as being the 1-2 punch?
De'Aaron's going to take a lot of pressure off of Wemby. Teams are going to get to focus fully on Victor. you're gonna have to guard him. You're probably gonna have to double team De'Aaron, especially down the stretch. I mean, De'Aaron does such a great job creating his own shot, and he's tough to stop. The way he can make that quick burst and just come to almost a complete stop, and guys are, still trying to, set their feet and, flying right past him. He's going to make things a lot easier for Victor, whether it's a pick and roll or just, again, maybe they double team De'Aaron and leave Victor one-on-one, and Victor's going to dominate guys, one-on-one, especially as his offensive game, expands. So I think the two of them are going to work really well together. De'Aaron's talked about he's really looking forward to working with Victor in the offseason just to kind of build that chemistry, pick and rolls, where Victor wants the ball on the court. So De'Aaron's a very, very smart player. He's going to set up Wemby be a dominant player.
Yeah. Look at some of Fox's number, especially in the pick and roll. He was in the 91st percentile last season at 1.06 points per possession in 24-25. So he definitely can score, and he's right up there. He's a proficient pick and roll ball handler. We know that. I think with Wemby's ability to hit the outside shot, hit a mid-range shot, that's going to be a nightmare for opposing defenses as well. You talked about the attention that De'Aaron Fox is going to demand. Again, that's lessening the pressure valve off Wemby to perform, at least in the offensive end. Now, here's the thing, too. Obviously the Spurs traded for him, and they see him as the number 2 guy, and that makes sense. But let's look at some of the maybe why he could not be, the number 2. Let's start off with, let's start off with the timeline here. He's still young. I get it, everybody. De'Aaron Fox is 27 years old, okay? But while maybe Fox is towards the end of his prime, it could possibly be that Wemby's entering his prime. Do you think that's going to be an issue, the age gap?
I don't think so. I think De'Aaron is a guy who's he's a vet, but he's still young. I think he's sort of like Keldon. Yeah, Keldon, a vet, but he's still kind of fresh in the league. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I think De'Aaron's such a great teammate. That as far as on the court and off the court, that I think they're gonna bond really well on the court and off the court. So I don't think age is gonna be that big of a factor. I think De'Aaron's got at least 27. I think he's still got at least another 6-7 years and 4, 5, 6 good years in him, and then maybe like another 7-8 years as far as his career. He's still hadn't entered his prime, so he's going to be really good for Wemby for the next, like I said, 5, 6, 7 years. Yeah.
Another concern that could pop up is Fox's 3-point shooting. As well he is getting downhill, getting to the rim, getting the fouls, and getting to the free throw line, getting those score. His 3-point percentage hovers around 33%. So he's not the strongest 3-point shot. This could clog the lane for Wemby. You can see teams just, hey, De'Aaron, you're going to beat us to the 3 ball. Go for it. We're going to try to limit Wemby, his spacing, and his ability to dominate. What about that? Do you think that's a concern if Wemby and Fox are going to be the 1-2 punch next season?
I don't see that as a big of a problem. I think that's, you have your other teammates to do that, and of course Victor can, shoot the 3 as well. But with De'Aaron's ability to drive and to kick out, I'm looking for a whole lot more alley-oops, a whole lot more passes to Wemby. I think it's almost going to be kind of like almost like a Tony Parker thing where you drive and you kick out, but I don't think he's going to kick out as much as he's going to be lobbing it up to Wemby, because again, I think teams are going to once De'Aaron hits the paint, they're going to try and double team him or whatever. That's just going to open a Wemby up for lobs and alley-oops and dunks, and I think him and Jeremy are really going to benefit from De'Aaron's ability to get to the hole.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
I don't really see him clogging up the lane just because De'Aaron's so quick. I think defenders are going to be a step or two behind, and that's going to open a lot of stuff up.
Yeah, you look at also what De'Aaron Fox had to do in Sacramento. He was their number 1 guy. I don't know, maybe you can make an argument for Sabonis, but he was their number 1 option for a good chunk of the time. there is the argument that maybe he thrives better as a number 2 guy. Maybe that will help him because look, I think Wemby helps everybody. You're on that roster. You got Wemby out there. You're gonna get wide open shots. You're gonna get easy when he blocks. It'll be a quick rebound off that. But perhaps you can see Fox thrive at a number 2 spot than what he was maybe as a number 1 in Sacramento. But look, all the signs are pointing that Fox is the guy. Fox is going to be that 1-2 punch. But Raul, we saw Stephon Castle emerge strong last season. We're going to talk about that next. Could there be a case that Stephon Castle should be the number 2 for Wemby? We're going to be discussing that with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. You want to do that ASAP. But first, I want to talk to you about Prize Picks.
Basketball and hockey playoffs are here, and there's no better time to turn your sports dollars into real cash with Prize Picks, the top destination for fantasy or daily fantasy action. Prize Picks makes it simple. You pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. You can even mix and match players from across the basketball, hockey, baseball, and more for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Look, this is why you got to play Prize Picks now. For example, you could turn your hot playoff takes into tickets to basketball's championship series. Look, if you're into hockey, you can eye Connor McDavid for more than 1 goal and Austin Matthews for more than 5 shots on goal. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Hey, look, the app makes it so easy. You can build up a lineup in 60 seconds. Taco Tuesday discounts, Flex Friday, so much more. Some things you can do in as little as 15 minutes. The code is LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 off instantly after playing your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from Cybertron Springs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports, based here in San Antonio. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. Do that right now. Hey, Raul, is it true that there's a fiesta event in your honor in San Antonio? It's called the Raul Fest. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. I set you up good for that one. But no, I heard it's called the Raul Fest. Is that true?
I wish there was something that we'd have like anime, and
Oh yes.
wrestling.
You know what?
Wrestling.
You know what? I think a couple years ago, maybe last year, there was anime fiesta themed event, but I haven't seen it on the calendar this year. So yeah. Hopefully, maybe I guess relook at that calendar. Maybe I missed it, but anyway, we are talking about your San Antonio Spurs and who's going to be that 1-2 punch with Wemby. Look, we talked about the obvious in the first segment, and it's a Fox, right? More likely, it's going to be him, but there could be a point in the season if Castle is training the way he's going and continues doing that, where there could be some saying, no, it's Castle. No disrespect to Fox, but it's the young guy. It's him. He's the one that should be the number 2 behind Wemby. So let's look at some of the strengths as Castle for a number 2. Obviously, youth. They're both the same age, roughly, give or take a year there. So they're going to grow together, be a combo together, perhaps longer than Fox will be with Wemby. Castle, 20 years old. I think Wemby's like 21 years old. So there you have it. So they kind of line up there. So that's a positive for Castle. Also, you can't deny that Castle is perhaps a better defender than Fox. I think that defensive chemistry he has with Wemby could prove a problem next year for opposing defenses. He's 6'6". He has elite defensive skills. It's only going to get better as he gets more experience heading into season 2. He's a deadly combo 2-way guy. Perfect complement for Wemby. He can score and he can defend. Maybe he can't score the way Fox can score, but he can defend a lot better than maybe Fox can. What do you think about that argument, that just defensively these two guys make sense as a 1-2 punch?
Yeah, I mean, they seem to, Wemby and Castle seem to develop pretty good chemistry, or starting to develop a pretty good chemistry. Wemby, as well as Fox, they both praise Castle, how great he is. I think you and I were in there when Wemby talked about how, it took him, what did he say, like to the
Oh,
All-Star
yeah.
game like that to kind of get used to the league. And he said, like Castle was already comfortable with it, like, less than a month out.
Yeah.
So a lot of respect that both of them have for Castle. But you're right. You have a guy that's playing well at both ends. You feed off of that.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up the guy's name because I know Spurs fans don't like him, but Kawhi Leonard. I mean, you look at what he did. Just the way that Kawhi would just, we're seeing it now. I know Spurs fans probably hate to see it. Patty Mills waving out on the Clippers edge, and Kawhi would do that. Kawhi would make a great play on defense that come back, and either the Spurs or some other Spur or him would make a great play offensively, and it brings the crowd to life. It brings the players to life. So I can see that happening with Castle. He makes a great defensive stop, a great block, goes down, the other way, and either he dunks or maybe Wemby dunks or something that just brings that energy. So I could definitely see him, and Wemby can do that as well. So I could definitely see them sort of meshing even more. Based on the fact that they're both so dynamic on both ends.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the dynamic argument here, because when it comes to versatility and fit, again, maybe on paper, it seems like that could happen where Castle has more versatility and more fit than Fox does as next season goes on. He gets that screens, he can slash, he can post up, he can do it all. I mean, Castle can do it all, a little bit more than maybe what Fox can do. So that allows for just more creativity on the coaching staff, to maybe gamble a little bit more on defensive when those two guys are out there. Maybe get a little crafty on the offensive end with those two guys out there. So it all makes sense. And it would not surprise anybody if somehow down the way next season, a Castle emerges as a better fit for Wemby. But let's talk about the cons. Now, there are a lot of cons for Castle, and that's one, inexperience. He does not have the experience as Fox does. There's that. That's pretty much a big one right there. So he's probably going to make stupid mistakes even in his sophomore season. Maybe Fox can minimize those mistakes. Also, just as much as we criticize Fox for his three-point shooting, well, yeah, Castle's shot is not that great. 29% from the three-point line last season. That's a big concern. So there's that. Inexperience and worse shooting percentage from the three line hurts Castle in this argument, doesn't it, Raul?
Yeah, it does. The good thing, though, is like I was talking about earlier as far as with Fox, him, driving in, kicking out to his teammates for a three-point shot. Same thing with Castle, I think him and Fox will complement each other, make each other better. So, but he definitely, obviously he's going to get more experience. He's going to get more familiar with the league and who he's going to defend and kind of what he can get away with, as far as defensively and what he can't get away with. So he's definitely obviously going to improve as he gets more familiar with the league, as he gets more experience, as his conditioning gets better, as he gets used to the travel and playing 82 games. But his start, Fox had a great rookie season, but to me, Castle had an even better rookie season. And again, we're talking about Wemby earlier, talking about how, Castle seemed to figure out the league a lot quicker than he did. So, I don't think it's going to be as big of a leap for him in the second year as, say, it was other players. I think, late in the season, he looked like a veteran. I mean, Castle had 3 or 4 years experience already.
Yeah. So you also look at this, too, that maybe right now, Raul, Castle is not a co-star. Would you say he's just a very good complementary player? Are we there? Are we at that point in his career?
That's
where it's tough. See how it gets tough? Like he looks like a co-star.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I've said this, and I know some Spurs fans just sort of jumped on me about it, but you're talking about, we need to get Durant, we need to get this player. To me, Castle is going to be that third superstar. I think De'Aaron's going to start off as sort of the number 2 guy behind Wemby, and I think that's kind of what he wants. Like he wants them to sort of mesh into where technically, I guess maybe Fox would be the number 2 guy, but Wemby with Wemby as the number 1, but depending on the situation, Fox would take the late game shots or maybe take over a game, and maybe another game Wemby takes over. I think probably like maybe mid-season or so, maybe Castle takes over that number 2 role, and Fox is a great enough teammate, and he has so much respect for Castle. He loves Castle's game. I mean, he said, that when they were making the trade, that he did not want the Spurs to trade Castle. He wanted to play with Castle. To the point he sees how special he can be. So I don't think Fox will mind taking sort of a step back and maybe being a 3 option, the third option on some nights. Maybe the second option on some nights, the first option on some nights, depending on who they play. But it's a great problem for the Spurs to have. But again, I getting back to what I said earlier, I don't think the Spurs need to go out and get a Durant or anything like that. I don't think, unless they can do another great deal like they did with Fox, where they didn't give up a lot in order to get him. But if they have to give up a lot, to me, it's not perfect when you have Castle as potential third superstar, in that like group or star, however you want to call it, superstar, star, whatever. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, I think what it comes down to, so we're going to make a judgment call, like who is going to be the number 2. If it comes down to kind of a win now mentality, immediate impact right now, it's got to be Fox. Fox is going to be the guy that's going to help the Spurs win now versus still a player who's in development like Castle. Experience. He has a lot more experience than Castle. So, it leans towards Fox right now. Now, that's not to say that one day Castle could emerge as the number 2, but right now he feels like more like a very strong complementary player right now. Now, there are good things to Castle. Like I said, the long-term potential is there. He'll likely, like I said, develop into that. But if you're going short-term versus long-term, and the Spurs, again, the playoff drought continues, just a play-in drought continues, then you go with Fox. Fox is the better partner. He's the better pick-and-roll guy. He's a proven scorer. He's a proven, playmaker. They call him Swiper the Fox for a reason. He just defend on ball. He commands attention more so than maybe what Castle can. But it looks like if we're going to go next season, short-term view, it's got to be Fox, isn't it, Raul?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the other thing we talked a little about earlier about as far as people like double teaming Fox. I'm sure they're going to try and figure out a way, maybe play some zone to, try and defend Fox and Wemby. But there's going to be a lot of focus on Fox and Wemby. So, and then you got Castle over here, who's just, I think, is going to just absolutely go wild. Once more, if you're focusing on those two guys, you can't leave Castle. So I think he's going to really flourish, especially early on once teams try and figure out, okay, because I always go into the visiting locker room. When I would go into the visiting locker rooms, the teams always had, the main guy that they had to guard, Wemby, listed kind of his strengths or whatever. Like they always had a list of, or some teams had it up there, had a list of the players that you have to kind of focus on.
Right.
They're going to have Fox number 1, Wemby number 2, or maybe vice versa. And then Castle, maybe, third or fourth. He's going to dominate some teams, because they're not going to be as focused on it. And then when they try and change their focus to, hey, we got to stop him, that's going to open it up for Fox and Wemby. So to me, it's a great problem to have. Castle proved that, he's great at finishing at the rim. I think he's going to work on his 3-point shot to where it's going to be even better. His mid-range shot is really good right now. So I think he's really going to benefit from sort of the focus on those two early on, and then like we were talking about, maybe later in the season he's going to wind up being the number 2 officer. Or teams are going to go, hey, we got to stop Castle. Lay off Fox a little bit or Wemby a little bit. Castle's the guy we're going to have to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, so like you've been saying, it's a great problem to have. I'm glad the Spurs have it. All right, there you have it. Our debate, whether or not it'll be Fox or Castle that'll be the number 2 guy. We're going with Fox to start the season, but as we kind of say, we wouldn't be surprised if that shifts as the season moves on next year. What are your thoughts? You can let Raul know on X at Dominguez Cinco. Make sure to follow him right now. You let me know by leaving a comment on Locked On Spurs YouTube. We'll read those at a future episode right here on Locked On Spurs. But coming up next, we're talking about the NBA playoffs. Yeah, a couple games tonight. We get Raul's thoughts on those games and more right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk to you about FanDuel.
The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props from three-pointers, steals, assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. You got to try out the FanDuel app right now. Download it, get it on your favorite device. Easy to use, user-friendly. You can pick it up in no time and just have fun watching the NBA playoffs. Don't miss out. Head out to FanDuel.com to claim your $250 in bonus bets today.
Hello, Spurs fans. Joker here, and I listen to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia. And you better too.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. Do that right now. Raul, we got a couple of games on the NBA playoff slate. Let's talk about the first one here. Cavs, Heat. Series is all but over. I mean, Heat does not have an answer for the Cavs. So we kind of know who's going to be advancing to that. All right, fine. But do you think the Cavs are getting ignored? A lot of attention in the East. It's Boston this and Detroit this. And look at the Knicks and Orlando, blah, blah, blah. But there are the Cavs handling business and no attention.
It reminds me of the I think the run they had. I can't remember when it was. They had a pretty good run before. I think it was Kyrie. I don't know if it was the year, maybe after they had traded Kyrie, but they had a postseason run. Kind of reminds me of that. It's like I don't think people are taking them as serious as they should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to me, Donovan Mitchell is just playing absolutely incredible, and he's been doing that throughout the whole season.
Yeah.
And you hear about people talking about MVP candidates. I don't hear a lot about Donovan, but
nope,
he's got. I mean, I don't know how you don't give him serious consideration for MVP. I mean, what he's done with the Cavs and turning that franchise around has been incredible. And they've got such a deep roster. I mean, Donovan, Mobley, Jared Allen, Garland. I mean, it's then the bench that they have.
Yep.
So Cleveland. I mean, I think people were like you're saying. I think people were expecting Boston to come out of the East. I think the Cavs are coming out. They're playing incredible ball.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned the Cavs winning it all. I ran a question through AI, and it actually generated this year's champions as the Cavs. And I was like, what? And it gave a reason why, but for the most part, the AI said today this year's NBA title holder is going to be the Cavs. So I thought over the Thunder, over the Boston Celtics. So interesting. But no, I just think like they just slept on. They're just so slept on. And they're handling business. They're taking care of a team that they should beat on paper. And they're more than likely going to sweep them and they're going to advance. But Spurs fans, we all know about this feeling, right? How many times we've been through this road when the Spurs are winning titles?
Yeah. I'll say that Cleveland defense is just so good. That is just a tremendous defense.
Yeah. So more than likely the Cavs will advance. All right. And the nightcap tonight, it's a big game. Rockets and Warriors. Golden State leads 2-1. Rockets are on the ropes, especially if they drop a game tonight. This is a situation where sure the Rockets are number 2, but Golden State, they're not, in my opinion, they're not a lower seed. This is a seasoned team. This is a dangerous 7th seed. This is a team with so many champions, from Steve Kerr as a player and a coach to Curry to Draymond to, who's the guy? A couple other guys that won a title with Golden State's run there are still there. But this is the team that I think Houston, does it feel like they were too soon for them?
I don't know if it was too much too soon. I think that they attacked the regular season. I mean, they did what you're supposed to do is they just attacked the regular season. Doing well in the regular season doesn't always guarantee, obviously, season success. Like you're saying, I think Golden State should be higher. I think if they had if Butler had been playing with them from the beginning of the season, they'd be a much higher seed. Having Butler just to me changes everything for Golden State. They still have the stalwarts, Curry and Green, but Butler just completely changes the team. If he plays the next game, I mean, I think it's a wrap. I think it's a wrap.
Yeah, and again, the Thunder. I'm sorry, the Warriors are a team that even the Thunder I think would be a little nervous to face. Like, yikes, because they've been there, they've done that, they've seen it all. And it's funny, you watch them when they're down the scoreboard to the Rockets, you see Curry just sitting there on the bench, like, all right, like not a problem. We got this, and it's from the Rocket side of things. Their star is on the rise as a team. They're going to be a threat in the West for years to come if they continue the trajectory they're going. But Jalen Green has really been impressing me. I'm like, wow, he's having a coming out party right now. But overall, I think they got to address more offense in the offseason, right? Because, man, if Green's not going, it's like, who you going to rely on? Brooks? Van Vliet? They got to address scoring. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and that's a great point. Was it? I posted on Facebook that I picked the Golden State to win in 5, maybe 6. I have a bunch of friends from Houston, and they didn't like that, but I just feel like Houston's, like you're saying, I don't think they're quite there yet.
Yeah.
They're scoring. If you're able to slow down Green, then
you just love with Sengun. Yeah, Sengun to handle it. Yeah.
I think Golden State is smart enough to where they're able to kind of take, a certain guy out each game, sort of limit what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
So Houston is going to be a tremendous team for years to come. I just think that maybe they're not quite ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Van Vliet and Brooks on the roster. Yeah, I think they need another veteran on that team, or or maybe have one of the young guys, sort of make that other than Jalen Green, sort of make that superstar turn. But a lot of talk is maybe Durant goes there. If Durant goes there, that's going to be just phenomenal. But I just don't see them getting past Golden State. I think Butler's, Jimmy Butler's always been such a great playoff competitor. Curry obviously is as well. Draymond just, he just kind of goes nuts in the playoffs, and he gets under guys' skin, and Draymond knows how to sort of walk in the playoffs, how to walk that line where he's going to annoy you, he's going to frustrate you, he's going to be really physical, but he's not going to quite cross that line in the playoffs. Usually, getting fouled out or getting the tech or the second tech. And I think that's kind of getting to Houston. Dylan Brooks also does that, but I think Drake was a master and sort of getting you out of a whole team out of their game.
Yeah, and it's funny. A player like a De'Aaron Fox would have helped them right now. I mean, that's exactly the De'Aaron Fox type player would have helped this team right now, this Houston Rockets team. But yeah, I mean, Houston, great regular season, but right now their season's on the ropes right now, especially if they lose tonight. And of course, everything hinges to Butler, his injury. If he doesn't come back, he's going to be 100%. Do they need for him to come back? Because they beat Houston without Butler, so there's something there, and maybe save him for the long term. But overall, what do you think about the playoffs so far? It's been pretty exciting for the most part. There have been some snoozers, but for the most part, games have been competitive.
Yeah, it's been a really good postseason for the NBA. They're talking about the viewership was down, but I think the opening games and the opening weekend was I think some of the best ratings they've had. NBA needs this. They definitely need this. I mean, I think it's good that you've got new teams like Oklahoma City, Houston with their new guys.
Yeah.
Even Cleveland with Detroit.
Detroit's back.
Detroit, New York, obviously having the Knicks do well is always great for NBA the viewership. This is a really, really good postseason for the NBA as far as business wise and for the fans. It's been tremendous. I mean, I've been watching as many games as I can. I mean, the New York game on Sunday, man, that was just great game. Oklahoma City coming back from a 29-point deficit. I mean, this is fun. This is almost like a NCAA feel to it. As far as like you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, even the Wolves-Laker game on Sunday was great too. I mean, there's just been so many games. But hopefully they'll continue and we'll get some good quality basketball action. Locked On Spurs ratings go up when you're on Locked On Spurs Roll. So
That's because I click on the link like 10 times.
there you go. Or you say controversial stuff like to your friends, like, "Oh yeah, Rockets are gonna lose to the Bulls." Say, "What? What did he say?" Click, 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 click. So all that, you go, yeah. Raul, again, as always, we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come out here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, it's the offseason, Raul. I know you probably have some time in your hands to talk Spurs and more, so we appreciate it. He is with the AP Sports. Follow him on X at Dominguez5. What are you working on right now that Spurs fans or just sports fans in general can enjoy?
Yeah, no, just kind of just waiting on the draft lottery, seeing what's going to happen with the Spurs. Keep seeing all these scenarios of people, having their little computers generated things where the Spurs have the number one pick. I think one, the Spurs was the number one and then the number two pick. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? So
yeah. And it's just a few short weeks away. It's almost here. Lottery time and everything. By the way, tomorrow, Rookie of the Year gets announced. I think we already know who won that. I mean, yeah. NBA, just stop with the formality. Just give it to them right now. Just do it. So, but yeah, we look forward to that tomorrow as well. Castle will be joining Wemby, Tim Duncan, and David Robinson. So good vibes for the Spurs tomorrow. But as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen every single day. Free and available wherever we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Cansify, plus you guys are the everydayers coming here to Locked On Spurs every single day, especially in the postseason. We definitely can use your help. Leave a comment at Locked On Spurs YouTube. We'll read it in a future episode of Locked On Spurs. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black as the offseason continues and the NBA playoffs continue as well. So for Raul Dominguez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.